Random thought 26. You know, I hear this all the time. I hear people say, that's a false equivalency. And I was wondering to myself, well, what does false equivalency mean? I don't even understand that. So what I did was I did what anyone would. I looked it up. False equivalence is a logical fallacy where there appears to be a logical equivalence, usually in quantity and quality of evidence, between two opposing arguments, but when in fact there is one side that has a substantially higher quality of quantity and evidence. Journalists use a form of logical fallacy when comparing two sides of a scientific debate in an attempt to provide what they think is a journalistic balance between a scientific and a denialist point of view. However, there is no equivalence between the two sides when one is supported by evidence and the other side with little or no evidence, of which most of it is low quality. In other words, in false equivalence, someone will state that the opposing arguments have a passing similarity in support when on close examination there is a large difference between the quality of evidence. For example, Fox News presents a debate between one scientist who thinks humans caused climate change, which is supported by a vast amount of evidence, and another non-scientist who thinks that the data is all manufactured and there is no evidence. Then Fox News states that the debate is unsettled, relying on false equivalence when the evidence supporting climate change is both high quality and high quantity. So false equivalency is something I see as a danger. It's like when the vote recount, for example, let's use that. There's a false equivalency when Trump says, hey, I could have won the popular vote if there weren't 3 million illegal votes out there. Well, wait a minute. There's no proof. There's no evidence of 3 million votes. Joe Stein wants to do a recount, and the recount is being suggested to all of the campaigns by people who have looked at the data and said there are some inaccuracies, there are some things we should be concerned about, so there should be a recount. So on the recount side, we have actual evidence and people saying after looking at this, wow, we need to do a recount. And on the other side, we have someone who just thinks that 3 million people voted illegally, and they will say that they have evidence, but so far there's been no put up or shut up. There's just been a lot of talking up about evidence that doesn't exist. So false equivalency, I was really curious about what it meant, and now I know. So when I hear someone say it on the news, well, that's a false equivalency, well, I can look at it logically at both sides and say there is or there isn't. So false equivalency is my random thought 26. And with that, I'm done.